Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you had a great week. Today is December 9, 2022, and this is your Friday planning video. We've got so much time and so little to do. Wait a minute, strike that, reverse it. Yes, just another movie line. So let's get on with it. First, a quick update on the student loan forgiveness. Not so much to report since last week. If you have applied, great. Applications are not currently being taken, but not to worry. Even if you applied, you're not getting your money anytime soon. The courts have a hold on this for now, and the Supreme Court has even agreed to hear this case sometime in February. So there's a chance they'll rule in favor of the president, and the applications can resume and the payments can start. Stay tuned, but don't expect anything until late Q1. As for the repayment of current loans, that's on hold again, with no exact time to have the interest payments start again. The wording at this point is that the payments will resume 60 days after the debt cancellation program is implemented, or 60 days after the lawsuits are resolved. So that's where we are on that. Remember that I spoke about this before. Just because you are not required to make payments at this time, if you can, you should. You still owe the money, and even if you're forgiven in the future, as I just mentioned, you will get that money back. So just take this opportunity to get rid of your debt while interest is not accruing. Make sense? If not, give me a call. Let me share some news that may interest you. Some of you for the positive and some of you for the negative. Beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder. There's a new rule that's been passed in regard to 401k plans. There was a recent announcement from the Labor Department that will actually affect where your 401k money is invested, or at least where it may be invested if you do not specifically direct it yourself. You may have heard about the ESG funds and the investment plan that use the environment, social justice, and governance of companies to direct investment dollars. This is being trumpeted by the likes of BlackRock, one of the largest money managers in the world. It's being embraced by many, and this is what I mentioned is beauty in the eye of the beholder. I do not intend to judge the ESG investments in this video. I only want to note that there is a new rule that involves ESG investing and your retirement plan's default investments. This means that if you do not choose your own investments, choices that are made as a default in the plan under the new rule can take into consideration the ESG rankings, for example, on how to invest. This, as the rule reads, can allow the investment managers to make selections based on, quote, collateral benefits other than investment returns. Close quote. As I said, I'm not saying that ESG funds are better or worse, but this is interesting since it may take into account priorities that are not necessarily shared by you. Why do I mention this? Simply, this is just another reason to spend some time examining your retirement plans. Make sure that you make the choices based on your wishes. If not, your default investments may not match your goals. I want to go over a few last-minute items that you can do as we close in on the end of the year. All of them should sound familiar, but I want to connect two of them. I don't believe that I've done that before. Of course, as with anything involving taxes, I want to remind you that I do not give personal tax advice, but I am happy to work with your tax advisor and help to implement a plan that is right for you. As the end of the year approaches, consider a few last-minute items. First, and this one is almost gone, but boosting your 401k contributions if you can to get the maximum benefit for your plan. This is something we'll talk about with IRA accounts again before the April deadline for 2022 contributions for those plans. But 401k and 403b plans, employer plans must be contributed to in the calendar year. Second, please make sure you take all your required minimum distributions from your retirement plans if you are over 70 and a half or more recently 72. This is huge, and if your retirement assets are in more than one institution, please be sure to address each of them. The rules on withdrawals are a bit complex, but the RMD must be taken and the penalties are high. Third, please look at the idea of charitable contributions. More on this in a moment, but as I've mentioned many times, if you have RMDs and you make charitable contributions, you can use qualified charitable distributions to make your donation using your RMD, and then the RMD does not become part of your ordinary income. Again, something that will normally happen with RMD. Remember, this is complex tax information. I remind you, I don't give this advice. We should speak to your tax advisor. Finally, the link that I mentioned. As we've spoken about for months, Roth conversions when markets are down could be a great idea for you. You will note that the conversion does create a taxable event, but if you also make a donor-advised fund contribution in the same year, you could offset some of the tax liability from that conversion. Again, this is complex. Let's talk about it. Let's talk to your tax advisor about it and see if you want to look into that. Okay, one more before we head off into the weekend. If you're wondering what you can do to make your required minimum distribution, and you don't need the money to live off of now, as I tell you always, the RMD must be taken, but you don't have to spend it. But if you need to take an RMD, and as of now the market is down, you're, quote, selling into a down market, close quote, how do you avoid this? There are two ways to mitigate this selling into a down market. First, instead of selling, transfer in kind. For example, if you have a $25,000 RMD, move $25,000 in stock instead of cash. This will allow position to grow if the market recovers. So even though it came out of the IRA lower, it can still have time to recover, which is what we're looking for. In a similar way, you can sell and do the RMD, then move the money into a non-retirement account and buy that position right back. Again, this doesn't create a wash sale, so you don't have to worry about that, and it positions the stock to have a chance to recover as well. So as we go into the last few weeks of planning videos, I want to remind you that these are all about how to take your wishes and desires, identify the goals, and work together to plan to execute them, and do all that we can to achieve what you want to achieve. Remember the signal and the noise. We've talked about that before. We must continue to separate the signal from the noise. The Monday market update videos have a lot of both, but those may help you understand what is happening week to week. These Friday planning videos are here to pull the signal out and focus on allowing you to achieve your goals that you set for your financial plans, or at least attempt to do so. Please engage with me over the coming weeks as we wrap up 2022 and plan for 2023. Knowing where we're going or where we want to be going is even more important than knowing where we've been in the case of your plan. Come back on Monday for the Monday market update. There's more to come in the planning ideas before the end of the year. Have a great weekend.